Wait, so you've never seen Seven Samurai? Or The Magnificent Seven? Oh, that's not a problem. John Landis did the work for you. Jamie?
Yes.
Let's go watch Three Amigos. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. I am here with Jamie Lorello. My name is Doug McCambridge, and
mine is Jamie Lorello.
That's right. And we are a podcast about 80s movies, good ones, bad ones, ones we've seen before, ones we haven't seen, and I guess everything in between, which I think I covered everything. So
yeah.
we just talk about 80s movies. That's it. But they should tie into a theme. And the movie we're going to do today is Three Amigos. First, I thought it was The Three Amigos. It's not. It's just Three Amigos with an upside down exclamation point at the beginning and a regular one at the end.
Just like they do. That's how, didn't you ever take Spanish? That's how the Spanish people let you know they're excited.
Well,
the double exclamation point.
Okay, first of all, you could be lying. Like, is this a joke?
No, I'm being very serious.
Oh, they put upside down exclamation points?
In the beginning and then a regular one at the end. That's how you know they're excited about something.
Wow. I apologize to any Spanish-speaking or native Spanish people listening to this podcast right now because I took 3 years of Spanish.
You need to apologize to the makers of Three Amigos for questioning their authenticity.
I need to apologize to my high school Spanish teacher for not listening to her for 3 years.
Well, this you must, yes. Lo siento, maestra.
But we do know that El Guapo does stand for handsome, right?
The handsome, yes.
The handsome, yes. The handsome, and things are male or female, right?
Yes, the Guapo
everything
is a female.
has a
gender.
I was going to say a sexuality, but that doesn't make any sense.
They're very, very sexual.
Oh,
yes.
But we're talking about this movie because the day this comes out, I think, is Steve Martin's birthday. He's 70 years old.
Lord have mercy. Bless his heart.
And he's looked the same since he was 30,
really
right?
has.
Like, I assume he went gray at 12.
Yeah, he's always had that beautiful head of gray hair.
Yeah.
And, really, he's a little, maybe got a little, I want to know if he uses olive oil or what he uses on that beautiful
Did you just call it olive oil Olay?
I did. The olive slipped out.
I think you need to work on your Spanish because now you're just shoving things like Olay. Well, actually, it is oil of Olay. So it still is Olay. It's just the olive oil that was the mistake.
There you go.
Oh, we're having way too much fun. Oh, also the director, John Landis, he just turned 65. I just saw that a couple days ago. It was his birthday. So really, it's birthdays all around.
It is a celebratory film, and really, it is. It's like a fiesta of a film, really.
Oh, and John Landis, we are going to have a lot of John Landis in this podcast, I assume.
Okay.
Are you familiar with his filmography? Just say yes.
Yes.
All right. 78, so we can't do it, but Animal House.
Oh, yes, of course.
80,
Sorry.
Blues Brothers. 81, American Werewolf in London. 83, Trading Places. Twilight Zone, the movie in 83. Michael Jackson's Thriller. There's a lot of movies. There's Spies Like Us. There's Coming to America.
Oh, of course.
All right, so this isn't about John Landis. This is about Steve Martin.
Well, yes, and
okay,
yes, for his birthday,
and the other amigos.
But there are those other amigos that we should celebrate. For.
So, do you want to take us through this here? There's my issue with this movie, and I know I texted you about this. Is that boy, I've made fun of so many movies. Every movie we've done, I've had so much fun making fun of it and poking holes in it and talking about how stupid it is, even if it's good. But all this movie does is make fun of itself beginning to end, which is going to make our jobs, I think, a little more difficult. So,
well, see, and I disagreed. I just think that this was just fun. I just think it's a joyful, fun piece. Not any of their best work ever.
No.
But just like, I mean, you can't not watch this movie and feel a little bit like shaking your hips or just, you know, joy in your pants.
Yeah, I have some problems with it, and we'll talk about it. But you're right. It was just, it's a light, enjoyable experience. Not to get too far ahead, but if you're going to watch this movie, to be honest, I'd fast forward maybe 15, 20 minutes into it before starting it.
You think so? You need that background of the beginning. You've got to see who the three amigos were before they went into Mexico. And you've got to see John Lovitz.
Yeah, okay, all right. No, start us out. Let's go. Because I may spend more time with John Lovitz and Phil Hartman than I do Chevy Chase, let's say.
That can't be. But yeah, okay. So we have our three amigos, and we begin with a beautiful scene of them. Well, they're singing fools. We get a background of them as these kind of silent film cowboys, correct? The three amigos.
Right. But we don't really. I mean, we do, but it takes a little while.
Well,
I mean, they're on their horses at the beginning singing the Three Amigos theme song.
And it's beautiful. They sing with such passion that you're just into it. The noses are flaring.
But then we get into a credit sequence. We're in
the desert.
Mexico.
Yeah.
It takes us a long time before we even get back to the Three Amigos after their theme song.
True.
And that's sort of the problem I have with this is there is nary a joke in this for 15 minutes. It's all set up, and it's
nary
not bad. Yeah, nary a joke. Yes. That's
Sorry.
My joke, is that I use the word nary.
Very good. No, but that's what the fun of it is. It's sort of this this little background on the little town of Mexico and not knowing where the hell we're going with this movie at first. Because we know we're about to meet the three amigos, and apparently in towns in Mexico they watch movies in churches, and in these movies is where the people of Mexico can find out about the three amigos.
Well, I think it's just another way to bring in some money. That's it. You know, it makes sense. They have to keep the lights on somehow. Were there lights in 1916? There were lights, right? The electricity
we should make sure to note that. Yes, it takes place in like the
1916 it says on screen. And you said that they are silent film actors.
Yes.
And I do kind of like the little film that they show. It's fun.
It's
it looks
adorable.
like any sort of silent film. There's nothing overly funny about it, but you're right. You really do get a sense of who these guys are and what their movies are all about.
We get a little background for Lucky. Lucky Day is who Steve Martin is. Ned
Yeah.
is Martin Short. And then we have our Dusty Bottoms.
Ned Nederlander.
Ned Nederlander. There you go.
I think that's Dutch for Netherlands, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So, okay, all right. So, Carmen and a boy who I don't think is her son, right?
No, it's her brother.
Oh, that's her brother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Carmen and her very little brother.
Yes.
They have to go... We don't really know what they're doing until they walk into a bar. And she says something like,
Mexican
we have
bar.
to... Yeah, can we find someone who will protect us from this bad guy, El Guapo?
Right,
and the only guy to respond gets kind of rapey in this.
Yeah, a little creepy guy. Yeah,
it's very creepy. It doesn't really go anywhere. They kind of just leave, and they're like, well, I guess we can't find anyone at this bar.
Yep.
So then they do. They wander into a church where they're showing silent films.
A movie. Yes. And that's where they are introduced to these three amigos, who they think, now we get the picture. They need their town saved. And the three amigos are just the ones to do it.
It's a great sort of confusion of identity, which is a very popular movie trope.
Yes.
But I think that it makes more sense here because, again, this is silent films. It's not like you watching I'm going to say Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though he's pretty old now, and saying, I'm going to call that guy up because I have a beef with my mailman or something like that.
This is also Mexico, so, they're watching these films in their churches and they're finding their little saviors in church, the Three Amigos.
And
there you have it.
And I think she's just out of ideas, too. I mean, she's got no other ideas, apparently. I want to say that she has been looking for someone for years.
Yes.
And that bar was her last chance.
Yes, and no one there was mighty friendly. So
no.
She found instead the Three Amigos.
And she decides to send them a telegram, which is great.
I thought that was fun, yes. When
It's a weird scene because... I have more problems with the first third or quarter of this movie than I do with everything after that.
Okay.
But I had a problem with this because she dictates this telegraph, right?
Yes.
The dude types this whole thing out and tells her it's too much money.
Right. She doesn't have enough
So
patience
then just
for
starts self-editing.
Yes, that's fun.
Okay.
I love that. See, I think that's pretty fun when he starts to just cross out certain words and sort of rephrases. And that's when the word infamous comes to play.
Infamous, and they don't know what it is. The guy has to explain to them what infamous means. And he's like, oh, it means all this stuff that you wanted to say, but that I had to cut out. But what I don't get is then... After he edits this, he just goes over to his little, Morse code tappy thing. Yeah. And taps this out. So, couldn't he just do them a favor? Just tap the whole thing? Is this really... He already typed it out on a typewriter, which looked like that took more effort for him.
Than when he actually,
Right. Now, I know if he didn't do that, you wouldn't have the movie. I get it. But it just seemed really weird when I watched him.
You're frustrated by his
you
work
already
effort.
Did.
Yeah, you already put in the effort,
work.
Buddy.
Right.
Why
Who is
take
he
it back?
paying this money to?
Right.
So we're out of Mexico suddenly.
Yes, the telegram is sent, and now all of a sudden is it Goldsmith Pictures? We're at a movie studio, essentially.
It is Goldsmith Pictures.
Where the Three Amigos are obviously, I guess we soon find out that they're not going to be employed much longer by the studio.
No. We're in a room full of wasted talent. Half of that room. It's... Why is John Lovitz there? Why is Phil Hartman there?
Young, slim John Lovitz.
Oh, yes.
And a post...
Well...
Yeah.
Post what?
I don't know where I was going with that.
Did you just put a gun to your head?
I did.
Oh, my God. Well, at least, what's his name? Joe Mantegna, right? At least he's screaming and yelling and has something to do, but wow. Does John Lovitz even say anything in this scene?
They're so young in this. And they were just happy to be, I think they're like production assistants of some kind, right? They're the producer's henchmen, essentially.
You're not going to convince me that this was...
Wasted talent is what you called it.
When we get to the German, the first thing I thought of is... Why isn't Phil Hartman playing the German? He could do a
really
better German accent.
Yeah, but nobody
than that
knew
guy
that
did.
of Phil Hartman at that time. Maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. This is 86, 88? I forget now. I think it's 88.
I thought it was 80. I thought it was earlier
86.
than that in the 80s.
It's 86.
Okay. So, Phil Hartman didn't quite know how powerful.
No, I guess you're right. This may have been pre-Saturday Night Live for Phil Hartman, right?
Pre-Hartman, yeah. Pre-Hartman's real meaty characters kind of thing.
Well, right, I know it wasn't pre-Saturday Night Live. I knew that existed.
Okay. Just doing a timeline check for you, okay, amigo? But yeah, I come on, go easy on them. Wasted talent. They're just some production assistants in the scene.
But I'm not critiquing them. I'm critiquing the people that made this movie that just stood them there for a few hours, I guess, to film this scene and didn't even give them any funny lines. And that's one issue that I kind of have with this movie is this is why I think it took so long before jokes were told is very few people in this movie get to be funny except for the Three Amigos.
Well, true.
You know what I mean? Like, there are a few lines here and there, especially when we get to El Guapo and his gang.
Right.
But boy, those townspeople aren't funny.
No, well, they're in a crisis situation.
But this is a comedy. Like, this is a real goofy comedy.
Well, yeah, but it's goofy because of the three amigos. Because of these three. And think of this funny lineup. You've got Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. You don't need anybody else to be funny in this movie with the three of them in sombreros.
Okay. All right, you win this argument, but I just think if that's what you're going to do is make them the stars, you have to introduce them earlier.
Okay.
You have to give them some funny lines earlier.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
But yes, they're fired.
Yes.
Which is funny because
And
I guess they were working for free.
Yeah. No. They were living on some studio land. They wear studio clothes.
Right.
So
they were working for room and board,
Yes.
which I don't know if that was a thing in the silent era.
I guess that's how they did things then. I don't know. But they're literally stripped of their clothes, aren't they? Yeah.
Everything except for their hats, which I thought was great because they get thrown out in their underwear, but they still have the goofy hats that went with the rest of the ensemble.
It's very adorable. And then the three of them are in the streets in their underwear, and that's when they get the telegram.
Yep.
That tells them about the infamous, which means more than famous,
Yes,
El Guapo.
That is a really good scene. And
Yes.
it's really the first first laugh that I kind of had in this movie
Yeah.
because Chevy Chase doesn't know what infamous means.
Yeah.
But I love how Martin Short treats him like an idiot. And he's like, oh, Dusty, infamous means more than famous. And the best is during the scene, every now and then you still just hear Chevy Chase going, infamous?
Yeah.
The infamous?
The infamous El Guapo. Yeah, they get
No. Sorry, they say infamous.
Yeah, infamous. The infamous.
Infamous? And they're going to pay them 100,000 pesos? Something ridiculous.
An absurd amount
but
of pesos.
when she saw the silent film,
that's how much they asked for.
Yeah,
Yes.
but then they give the money back to
Right.
the townspeople in the film.
And she figures she doesn't need the money because they'll get it back. They'll do the
They'll just
same
give
to
it
her.
back.
Right.
Yeah, they can't even pay the 100 pesos to have the telegram sent.
Exactly. Well, but they think that this was really a famous kind of Mexican man that wants them to perform their
Right.
silent films for them. They don't realize that they are being sent for to help defend this
Right.
small little Mexican village.
Yes.
But so they're ready for their big international show, I guess.
Yeah, and this leads into another really great scene, but one that I think had to be thrown in there because stuff was cut. And I'll get into. Did you read about this movie at all?
No.
A lot of stuff was cut,
Okay,
but
I could see
it's a
that.
great scene. They're still not wearing clothes. They still don't have clothes.
In their
of course.
in their skivvies, if you will. Mm-hmm.
So I guess we as the audience might not know what's going on. So Steve Martin climbs up on a wall and he walks across, and the other two guys are crouched down below. And just so that we understand what's happening, Chevy Chase says something like, couldn't we just have asked Flugelman to give us our outfits back? And Martin Short goes, no, he hates us right now.
Right.
We have to steal them.
So
they're telling us, the audience,
they make
what's
it
happening.
very clear to let us know, which I like it. It's kind of that gives it it gives it that funny kind of cheeky feel. But yeah, I like the scene when Lucky or Steve Martin is kind of whistling to them from the top of the
he's
wall,
doing all those
trying
bird
to get
calls.
there. Yeah, look up here, look up here. And,
Work with me. Work with me.
and they're not. They're all of them are so naively, innocently dumb.
Oh,
that
They
I think he literally throws a rock at one of their heads and is like, hello.
I think he just yells, hey, guys.
Yeah. And they're like, ah. So,
Yeah.
But then they get into they suit up in all their glory back into their uniforms. And their salute, which anyone that knows the movie remembers, they're three amigos. I mean, salute.
You cross your chest.
And you thrust your hips.
Hips,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And you cough. You turn your head to the side and cough.
And do a little cough. I mean,
It's so wonderfully childish. It's a salute that a 12-year-old would come up with and just think it's the funniest thing.
Yes.
And it's great to watch these grown men do it.
Exactly.
And This movie, it is just the theater of the absurd. Their costumes are so over the top, extravagant, and just amazing.
It's half mariachi, half bullfighter, and like the sombreros are out of control.
Hats are so big.
They're out of control.
And there's just sequins everywhere.
Just lined everywhere. And they have those red sashes. It's just amazing. And that they wear them and like continue to like with the suiting up. It's just it's beautiful.
And they look fantastic.
Of course, each one of them. I totally agree. So they make their glorious escape with their costumes, and this is when we meet the aviator. Right, we're back in a bar in Mexico. Right.
Yes, at that same bar.
Yeah, that same sketchy Mexican empty bar where they just serve jugs of tequila. I guess they don't even have beer at this bar. It's just a Mexican bar, and they just have tequila, and that's all.
It's a popular place, though.
Yeah.
It's packed.
Yes. Well, with a bunch of like unsavory Mexican men, if you don't mind me saying so.
I'm not insulted, but all of our Mexican listeners are.
But
these people are filthy in this movie.
Yes.
They are disgusting.
Well, the ones in the bar. The townspeople aren't.
They look fine, but El Guapo's gang, like those guys.
Oh, yeah, their teeth are gnarly. Cake. Totally, yeah.
It's like they all just ate a bunch of chocolate cake.
And then they were like, let's go get
donuts.
Some...
Yeah.
They don't have toothbrushes in El Guapo's gang. It doesn't seem that way, at least. So the German, when he comes, this German aviator, seeds a warning to the bar that he's a very dangerous man with a gun. We should know
very
that.
Dangerous.
Yes.
He kills the rapey guy.
Yeah, rapey guy goes down because rapey guy is just inappropriate to everyone that comes in the bar apparently.
Right.
And now he gets his and he gets
male,
shot.
female, it doesn't matter. He asks him to
Exactly.
come over and sit on his lap because he has something to show him. And that was a great line.
That's right.
He's like, wow, he didn't even say that to the woman.
I forgot about that. He's just inappropriate.
I think the German shoots like 8 guys just in a row.
Well, he's I don't know what you call that, a sharpshooter, I suppose. But he warns the bar about the people that are coming, the very dangerous guys that are about to arrive, and come.
There's some great dialogue in this, just some little throwaway lines. When the bartender goes, how will we know them? And he just goes, oh, you'll know them. And then immediately the three amigos walk in. Mm-hmm. And everybody is terrified of them.
Even though they're in those goofy outfits, I love it.
Yeah.
And I think they walk in and they say, we're not Mexican, right? I think that's how...
No, Chevy Chase says, oh, yeah, I think Martin Short says we're not Mexican. But the first thing Chevy Chase said is, well, it looks like somebody came down here with the ugly stick.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then when they tell them that they don't have beer, their reaction to the tequila, is it fattening?
Right. Is it fattening?
I love it.
Well, if it's like beer, we'll have some.
Right.
Yeah, they do a goofy little thing.
Oh, then they do their shots of tequila, which their facial reactions. Just these three comedians, and watching them play these, like, you feel like they were just like, I don't know. Go ahead. What does it look like when you take? Like they're just. It's just beautiful to watch them.
Yeah, I don't know how much of this was improvised,
yeah.
But I assume quite a bit.
So so they're fun. They're ready. They're loosened up. They have done their shot of tequila. And
then it's my favorite part of the whole movie.
It's everyone's favorite part of the movie. Everyone loves this part.
There were parts of this movie, and again, with the beginning, I remember as a kid thinking the beginning was kind of slow. And this
now you understood,
Yeah. But there were a couple other things that I remember seeing as a kid that I appreciated so much more. And this song was one of them. I remembered this song, but it wasn't as truly wonderful
as watching it again.
It was, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, and their whole dance routine. So Dusty or Chevy Chase hits the piano and is kind of tapping out this jazzy
He's
beat.
doing some great fake piano playing.
Oh, it's titular. And then we have the dance that Martin Short and Steve Martin do is just a delight again to watch these two like spin each other around and sort of fan the butt and tap dance and their whole do you want to sing some of it? Do you want to?
No. No,
All right.
I don't.
Fair enough.
I'll put it at the end. I'll put it as the song at the
Fair
end
enough.
of this one.
Fair
Definitely.
enough. Okay.
But my favorite part is when he ties like a little babushka onto Martin Short's head, and then they sit on that guy's lap.
I like when they get the Mexicans to sing along.
Yeah.
And like these like rowdy looking like Mexican, barflies are singing along to their goofy little songs. So adorable. So
And near
adorable.
the end, I love it how they just point to them and everybody backs up in their seats and says the line, whatever it is. The entire bar is reluctantly singing along.
Because they're so scared of them.
They're so scared.
Oh, yeah. And then a great joke happens next.
Again,
the airplane
this was a joke
joke
that I did not like as a kid.
I
Like
didn't
got it
remember
as a kid.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Boy, they see a plane.
Uh-huh.
And Ned knows this plane. He mentions it several times because he flew one in Little Neddy Goes to War or something like that. They make references to their movies a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of wish that the movies had funnier titles than they actually do.
I found myself not paying attention to the names of the movies, but
like it's
I
all
think they were
dumb
goofy
stuff.
enough.
The only one I know is the end one, which is, do you remember our movie Amigos, Amigos, Amigos? Yes.
Yes.
I like how they ask each other if they remembered the movies that they were in. But yeah, he sees a plane and he says, I think it's a mail plane. And Chevy Chase, I think, says, well, how do you know? And he goes, don't you see the little balls? And he is laughing hysterically, and the other two are not.
When he cracks himself up, that's what makes that joke take it to the next level for me.
I know. He can't breathe, and he keeps holding his thumb and his forefinger on and just like mouthing little balls. And then Steve Martin starts laughing, but I think it's only to humor him. Chevy Chase doesn't laugh the whole time because he does not get it, and that's also what's great. Well, so then they leave, and immediately other Germans come in.
Oh, yes.
And one guy just goes, look at the sissies, and they just shoot the hell out of the place. So that's it. I don't know why we need more Germans.
The Germans
those guys,
mean business.
yeah, those guys really don't serve a purpose, but other than that one joke.
All three of them have arrived.
They arrive in the town.
They arrive to, I think it's called Santa Poco, is the
Santa
town that they're
Poco,
meant
yes.
to save. All three of them arrive on one horse, which is kind of adorable.
It's like a giant donkey, too. I don't even think it's a horse, but yeah, they're all riding it together.
Yes. And they are fed by the by the people. Mexican food, which is, I think this is when Chevy Chase has another line that I remember where he's like, do you have anything else besides Mexican food? Yeah. And they're eating, and I love that when he's eating his taco or his burrito, it's spilling out the bottom, which we all know happens when you eat a little Mexican food. It's just messy shit.
Yeah. I mean, what I really like about this is I think they all sort of should have equal billing, or they have equal screen time.
Screen time?
You know what I mean. Screen time, yes. Not time screen. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. But Chevy Chase has some pretty good lines. I like it when the little boy says to him, can I have your watch when you're dead? And in the background, Steve Martin's like, what did he just say? And I love how they all share a bed.
The three of them in the one bed. Yeah, and it's not even like a king size. It looks like just a full-size bed.
Oh, yeah.
They're all just like, it's adorable. This is when they're sharing the bed, they share with each other about what they would do with all the many pesos that they're going to get for doing this show, what they think. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a funny joke, and I've heard Steve Martin has done a similar joke to this on one of his Saturday Night Live sketches where, so he says that he wants a car. He wants to buy a fancy car. Mm-hmm. Dusty, Chevy Chase, wants to go to New York. He wants to go to Paris. He wants to drink champagne, the most expensive champagne. And then Ned, Martin Short, says he just wants to help homeless children with his money. And the other two kind of, we got homeless. Yeah, homeless.
Right, yeah.
Too,
yeah, and then after the car, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes.
So it's the next day.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're thrown right into this. I mean, there's no real setup, and it is funny because some of El Guapo's men come to town just looking for tequila.
Yes.
So it's not the big bad guy. We haven't even met him yet at this point.
No. It's just his banditos.
Right, and they knock on their door and say, El Guapo's men are here, and they're all looking at their watches. They're like, already? Now? It's so early.
They're not ready for their show.
Right. Yeah, I love it. He stands out on the balcony, and he's like, well, I guess.
That's right. And so they suit up, they get they dress, and they do their Three Amigos salute, their hip thrust, and a little dance.
I also like, again, I think Chevy Chase gets a lot of good stuff in here. Steve Martin's sort of just giving them a little pep talk before they go out to do the show.
Yes.
And he goes, Dusty, just have fun with it. And he's like, I'm just going to have fun with it.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
So they do their salute. They say their lines.
Yes.
There's you scum-sucking pigs.
Yes.
You sons of motherless goats.
Yes.
Which I remember from when I was a kid. I'm sure I could have said that whole line.
Yeah.
And then they just ride around shooting their guns in the air and just yipping and howling.
And they just around them, and we get some nice shots of them just shooting their guns and looking just crazy and fun.
I love how the bad guys are like, should we kill them? And
yeah.
It's like, no, let's go tell El Guapo.
We need to tell El Guapo about these little lunatics that are in this town.
And we do then cut to El Guapo. This is the first time we meet him, and it's really quick. Because
he's on
the
a
men
photo
are just
shoot.
Right. Yes. But the men are just telling him about this. And I love, like I said, these guys all look gross and disgusting.
Right.
And the probably the grossest and most disgusting guy's talking to him, and he says, then they called us scum-sucking pigs. Us! And then we're back to the Village Inn's party time. They did a great job of this show. The townspeople are very excited. They think that they've driven them off, I guess.
That they've done their job. El Guapo's scared of the Three Amigos just by them doing their little, So they're celebrating. The town is celebrating.
They have pinatas and fireworks. It's quite elaborate.
It's beautiful, is what it is. It's the Three Amigos are thrown right into the mix, and they love a good party. Martin Short does that goofy Martin Short dance that he does, where his legs are together.
It's like it's like his Ed
Grimley. Yeah, it's totally, and it's his move.
I love how he's telling the children some story about how when he met some silent movie actress.
Oh,
and he loves the story, and the kids just all sit there staring at him, totally confused. Yeah. But again, Chevy Chase has the best scene in this when he's talking to the girl.
Oh,
and
yes.
The Mexican girl's really into him, and I love when she goes,
"You can kiss
Would you
me.
like to kiss me?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, that would be great." And then he just starts playing his guitar again.
And then she says, "Would you like to kiss me on the veranda?" And he's like, "Nope, the lips would be fine." Right. I love it.
The only movie I think ever to make a joke about veranda being part of the female anatomy, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it's very good. And the next day they do the same thing. Like they wake up.
Right.
And it's sort of, they're surprised because El Guapo's here now.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're doing a second show?
Yeah, they're kind of hungover. They've already done the one show. They don't want to do this next show.
And they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Their routine is the same. They come up, they say the same dialogue, although they do make El Guapo tell them that they're going to die like dogs.
Yeah, they do feed him a line. Yeah.
I do like how in the original one, Ned forgets his line.
Yeah, he calls for line, and they give it, and then he feels bad after. He's like, "Yeah, it was pretty good, but I forgot my line."
And Steve Martin's like, "Oh, they'll just fix that in post. Don't worry about it." So they do the same thing. They ride around, and I think El Guapo's got a great line here. He is loving this.
He
and
enjoys
I love
the show, yeah.
I like these guys. Yeah. These are funny guys. Just kill one of them.
And they try to. They shoot Lucky in the arm, right?
Right, yes. And Lucky Day, Steve Martin, their leader. I'm going to call him their leader, right?
Yeah, he's the most sensible one, I guess, of the three. Amigos.
He's the most sensible one. Ned is probably the most sensitive one.
Yep.
And Chevy Chase is just the big dummy.
The big dummy. The big dum-dum. Who yells? They yell at him, "You're in a lot of trouble, mister." Like, he's in trouble.
He shoots him in the arm, and he walks over and he's like, "Let me see that gun." And he takes it and he's like, "Great, real bullets."
But then he freaks out and he goes to the other Amigos and he's like, "This is real. It's real. It's real." And they all start to cry, which is, again, like the shot of Tequila where you're just like, they must have just said, "Okay, you're going to look at the camera and all of you are going to just do these fake, like," and their fake cry is hilarious.
Their fake cry is great.
Yes.
You sent a text to me with the picture.
Yes.
I just thought they were laughing. Like, I had no idea.
It's so fun. It is so fun. And yes.
And I do love it. And in the midst of them crying, they don't know what they're going to do. And Steve Martin goes, "I'm just going to go talk to him man to man."
I love that their reaction to getting shot is that they cry. For these townspeople that just need their help. So after this now they are scared and they run away from the village, don't they?
They basically beg him to not kill them.
Yes.
And he goes, "But I thought you told me that you were going to die like dogs." And Chevy Chase goes, "If there's any possible way that we could avoid that, that would be great."
That's right.
Yeah, so then they basically just sort of wuss out, and that's it. They want to leave.
And El Guapo and his banditos burn the town down.
They just have dynamite and just start blowing up any little shack that they can find.
They mean business when they roll into
and they
town.
steal that girl.
Yeah,
He
they
kidnaps that woman.
Carmen is her name. Yes, they steal her.
Yes.
They abduct her.
They decide to go save her because, remember, they're about to leave. They're ready to leave. And Ned convinces them to stay with a really good speech.
Yes.
Where he says, "I'm drawing a line. Men are mice." And he's like, "Well, why would we go back? Back there, the Amigos are dead. But here, we can be the Amigos for real."
That's right.
It's a
very
good speech.
inspirational.
And he does like really cool gun flipping, twirling work.
A good gun flipping, twirling. Yes, all of it.
Yeah, and Steve Martin does the same thing, and then Chevy Chase touches his gun and shoots the ground.
Yes.
Never once do we see him do any of the gun twirling that the other two do, because the other two do it a few times in the movie. Chevy Chase never does it, which makes me think he just showed up on set. He's like, "Oh yeah, those lessons, I didn't show up for those."
Well, he was too busy taking piano and guitar lessons. He was their musician, so he didn't need to.
But yes, then they go out to find El Guapo's hideout, right, and to save Carmen.
Oh, there's a good desert scene when they're riding through the desert, and Ned is essentially drinks sand right out of his little cantina.
Yeah, Steve Martin drinks nothing.
Yep.
There's nothing
left, and then
Ned's is filled with sand.
And he dumps sand down his throat, which looks terrible. And then we've got Dusty, Chevy Chase, who's like drinking pouring the sweet fresh water down his throat, gargling
he's practically
with it.
Bathing in it.
Yes. And then he's putting on some lip balm.
Right. Yes. I do like how after he drinks from it and swishes it around and spits it out, he tosses the cantina and you see that it was still full.
It's still leaking more water.
Right. But can we talk about the amazing fake desert backdrop scene where they're sleeping? It is so... It's this amazing... Like... In a movie where we've seen everything basically shot on location, clearly, this is the most bizarre set. But it's so funny because it's so bad.
Exactly.
And there's like a fake coyote, and there's a fake tortoise for some reason.
Because what's going to sing along to them? Doesn't the tortoise say, "Good night, Ned"?
Yes. It's so strange. But again, it's one of the things I think makes this movie work.
Oh, totally. This is a really fun scene when they're in that fake desert, when they're all...
And this is the third time they're singing in this movie. Like, this is almost a musical.
It's so fun. And the song is so beautiful. But then again, Randy Newman is one of the writers. So one would assume that.
Yeah, Randy Newman also does the voice of the singing bush.
Bush, yes, the singing bush, which
I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah,
we're at the
they
singing
encountered
bush,
the singing
basically.
bush and the what is it? Not the naked swordsman, the invisible swordsman.
I mean, he's probably naked.
I mean, I would be if you're invisible. Why wear clothes?
I don't know if his clothes would be.
Right.
But I do like how they come across a bush that is singing and won't stop singing to answer their question. If you are the singing bush, they continually ask him, "Are you the singing bush?" And it's just singing.
It just keeps on keeping on.
Right.
Back in El Guapo's camp, it's his birthday, right?
Yes. You get an English lesson.
An English lesson?
Yeah. The meaning of the word plethora.
Oh, I love that. They have a plethora of piñatas. Plethora of piñatas for his birthday. And there's also a funny line one of the Mexican women have where she looks at the Carmen, the captured woman, and says, "Do you know what foreplay is?" And Carmen's, "No." And neither does El Guapo.
Right, yes. It's a good line. And I also like when El Guapo and his sidekick are talking about Carmen.
Jefe, yes.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And he says things like, "Why don't you just take her now?" And he's like, "You have to wait for the desert flower to bloom."
Right.
And he's like, "When will that be?" And he goes, "Tonight, or I will kill her."
Right. Oh, and El Guapo's turning 40, right? Isn't it his big 40th birthday party?
Yes.
Shh, I won't tell anyone, El Guapo, you're turning 40.
Just the idea of this birthday party is wonderful.
Well, I like so we're not totally at the birthday party yet, right? Or are we?
No, because they have to break in. And it's pretty good. Their breaking in is really good.
Yeah.
I like it when Steve Martin tells Chevy Chase to throw a rock to distract the guard.
Yeah.
And he throws the rock at the guard.
At the guard,
The
he hits
right
the guard square on.
Yeah. So they decide to swing down.
Well, there's a plethora of piñatas kind of strung through the town. So they decide to swing
across to rescue her. I think that's the plan. Although the only one that makes it across is Chevy Chase. Yeah, he flies through her window into the closet and the door is shut behind him. Martin Short swings up and his spurs get stuck in another piñata. So he's just hanging above El Guapo. Yeah. And Steve Martin's rope is way too long, and he kind of drags across the ground.
Yes. Chevy Chase gets to Carmen. He really didn't have a plan, though. Once he got to her, that was their only plan, was just to get to her. How they're going to escape the town, what they're going to do next, they don't know.
No, they're not real heroes.
Yes.
If a plan doesn't involve something directly from a movie they made, they have no idea how to approach this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Steve Martin he's
kind of captured, and chained
and they
up.
chain him to the wall in like a dungeon.
Yeah,
and that's that. Like he just kind of escapes. He doesn't really have a good arc. Like the other two, I like what they're doing.
Well, he's got
during
a weird
this time when they get separated.
That he's chained to. So I guess that's, and there is some moments where he's doing like this. It's like an exercise machine kind of.
Yeah, he flies back against the wall at one point. Yes, but
the other two. Go ahead.
No, Dusty dresses up as one of El Guapo's men because they beat up the guy guarding Carmen's door.
Right.
And he goes outside, and that's where you really start to find out that this is a party, because what do El Guapo's men get him?
Oh, I love this. So they have it's a real party. Everyone's sitting around. Jefe, I think, is like El Guapo's right-hand man.
Yeah.
He, by the way, has like a terrible black wig on. Like, it's clear that that's not his head of hair. But so the gift from his banditos is a sweater. Don't they all get him like a sweater? And he's like so excited. He's like, "Oh, great, thanks, the sweater."
He takes it out of the box and shows it to the German, and it's really great.
Yeah.
But the whole time Chevy Chase is standing there as one of his men, like in the crowd of all
not
these guys.
Not standing out at all as a tall, goofy white guy.
No, not at all. No. No. And so El Guapo decides to personally talk to each of his men. And he gets to Chevy Chase, and Chevy Chase keeps feeding him lines like, and you are, and he's like, Pablo. He's like, yeah, Pablo. And we fought together and he just says some town. And then he goes, and there we, Chevy Chase goes, raped the horses. And he's like, yeah, raped the horses.
That's right.
And maybe that's what got him found out. But they do find him out.
Yes.
And then Martin Short falls down.
Gringos
comically.
fall from the sky. Yes, yes. And now they want to kill them, right? Obviously.
Obviously,
they're supposed to die. But the German who is at this birthday party happens to know of Ned Nederlander, right? Nederlander.
Yes.
He knows him from his childhood, right? He's a fan.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan.
His childhood, he doesn't...
Well, from just
he
not
doesn't
even his
look
childhood.
younger than Ned. Like, he looks older than Ned. So how does...
He knows him from his movies. German, you know. In the meantime, Lucky is still trying to escape.
Yes. And he does. He finally...
He
finally figures out the Bowflex and gets there. Yes.
Right. And now Ned and the German kind of have a shoot-off, right?
That's face off,
what they decide. Although I like when Ned says, I have etiquette. I don't shoot at people. He tells them, like, he can't do this. He doesn't want to.
I don't shoot people.
Yeah.
Call it etiquette, whatever you want. Yeah, and they give him a gun that...
It's like way too heavy for him.
Bullets does this gun have in it? Because when he shoots the German, that guy almost, like, he flies back.
Yeah. Well, it's a very heavy gun. He almost drops it when they give it to him.
But yeah, I somehow, I guess all of his work as a pretend cowboy pays off.
Yeah.
And he is able to shoot this German.
Yeah, yeah.
From a great distance, too. He's very far away.
It just clicks for him. It just clicks.
So he shoots him, and that's when Lucky escapes and sort of shows up.
Who has the line? I wrote it down. I'll fill you so full of lead, you'll be using your dick as a pencil.
Yes. That's what Lucky says to El Guapo. And this was like a line that, of course, I remember as a kid because it is so funny as a kid.
Yeah.
But El Guapo's response is, what do you mean? And he goes, I don't know what I mean. Of course you know what you mean. It's a good joke, and it makes sense. I like it when he tells them to drop their guns, and so Chevy Chase throws his on the ground, too.
Yes. And they're like, no.
It's a classic gag, but it's still pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. So they now that they've caused all this chaos, right, here at the party, now they need to get out.
They escape. It's a pretty easy escape.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to get in a plane, which Ned flies because he flew
in one of their movies.
Little Neddy Goes to War.
There you go. And
I don't know. I guess it's kind of scary. Like I don't know. I feel like there was more that they could have done with the plane scene, but no, they fly close to the ground. Everybody's scared, but then he makes it back to San Poco.
Yep. Brings Carmen back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all is well.
Steve Martin's character gives all these wisdom to these other two.
His speech is wonderful. His impassioned speech about El Guapo.
About having they all have to face their own El Guapo, right. Whether it be shyness or lack of education.
Maybe your El Guapo is shyness or lack of education. And we need to defeat our El Guapo, who is the actual El Guapo.
Turn our skills against El Guapo.
Mm-hmm. So and what is their skill? This town has one skill.
Yep, they want to find from the town what their skill is to help them defeat El Guapo. And what this town can do and do well is sew.
Mm-hmm.
Is sew.
Right.
And
remember our film, Amigos, Amigos, Amigos? Do you remember what we did in that film? And apparently this must have been the movie where they dress everyone up in the town.
Yes.
As an amigo.
Yes. So the whole town does a fine job of sewing all these outfits.
Right. And so they mow them down. They destroy his gang. They're popping out from behind every fence. Yep. They're in every window.
They're everywhere.
They are surrounded by amigos. And they kill most of these
Yeah,
guys.
the town slaughters them. They just needed the confidence of the outfit, really.
That's the thing that I thought was pretty good, because I think that, I think it might have been too much for these guys who aren't real heroes to then, in the end, become the heroes.
Well,
But they just inspire them.
Exactly.
They inspire the townspeople to say,
heroism.
yeah, it's sort of one of those things where, hey, there are so many of you.
Yeah.
And so few of these people terrorizing you. It's like stand up to the bullies every now and then.
Yeah, defend
You hear that? Kids out there being picked on, stand up to the bullies.
Yeah, find your El Guapo. Defeat it. Whatever it is. I don't know.
And they do. They kill El Guapo. They shoot him dead.
Uh-huh. He's gone. The entire town. Well, no, who actually makes El Guapo go down?
I don't know who shoots him. But right before El Guapo dies, he shoots Steve Martin in the foot again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He does.
So Steve Martin takes a bullet in the arm and in the foot. Neither of the other two amigos are really injured at all during this.
No injuries at all. And not to many of the other people in town, actually. A lot of, actually, the banditos just leave.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them ride
scared.
off.
Yeah,
although his second in
scared.
command is killed.
Oh, Hefe, yeah.
Yeah, remember, for
his
some
buddy.
reason he's like, don't worry, I'm still here. And then he instantly gets shot.
Yeah, it's hard times. So now that the three amigos have completed their job, they can leave San Poco. Mm-hmm. Santa Poco, sorry.
I don't know why they just don't stay.
The town was burnt now, and they have to help them rebuild, and I don't think the three amigos are ready for that kind of commitment to a town.
No, you're right, yeah. I do like when Steve Martin says
I was
to
just
the
going to
woman,
say when he tells her, I'll come back someday. And she looks at him and she goes, why? And he's just like... And then Ned, gets this hot, passionate kiss from this, crazy Latina woman, right?
Some lady who we haven't
Uh-huh.
seen up to this point,
Yep.
but it's pretty good.
Yep.
And Chevy Chase gives his watch to that kid.
Yes. And then all three of them hop on, let's ride, and they ride off. The three amigos ride off from the village. Having saved the village, really.
And that's it. I mean, it's a pretty swift,
Yep.
hour 40, hour 35, whatever it was.
It went fast. I agree now what you're saying in the beginning. It gets a little draggy, but I think you had to know all that to know the whole story of the three amigos and the whole town.
No, I know. I just think that, again, I think more jokes probably could have been thrown in.
But now you
early
said that there was a lot cut.
Oh, there was. Okay. First of all, tell me what you think of this cast.
Okay.
Steve Martin.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Instead of Chevy Chase, Bill Murray.
Oh, would have made... Ooh.
Instead of Martin Short, Robin Williams. Better or worse movie?
I don't... Definitely different. Definitely different.
Steven Spielberg was first attached to direct, and that was his cast. Yes.
Ah.
Hmm?
I would have been very different, and they would have... These three characters complemented each other in a nice way, and I guess in a way that, you knew that Steve Martin was clearly the leader. With the others, I don't know, Robin Williams, I guess, would have been the Ned character, and he would have played that way more goofier,
He would have played that way too goofy.
Yeah.
I could see Bill Murray kind of doing the same thing Chevy Chase did.
Yeah,
kind of not
but
really
Chevy Chase
caring or
was-
being kind of...
But again, Bill Murray is sort of a scene... I mean, I love Bill Murray.
Right.
So
Yes.
I don't... And I really enjoy Chevy Chase, but in this movie, you love Steve Martin the most. That's why we chose it as his birthday movie. Even though it's the Three Amigos, his character really shines. And that cast would have... I would love to see... Well, I guess we can't see that. But...
no.
R.I.P. Robin Williams. But,
and we're coming up on the anniversary of his death, too.
Oh, maybe we should do something
I think it's in
with
August.
That. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I thought it was in the fall, but I can't
No,
say that
I
for
think
sure.
it happened while I was at the beach last year. And I don't go to the beach in the fall.
Well, there you have it. And that's how you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they got it right. The one thing that I kind of didn't really like, or I don't know, they didn't seem to be different enough. The three of them, they kind of seemed like the same character, and that does come through when the Mexican women are talking, and the one goes, "I like the one that's not all that smart," and the other one goes, "Which one is that?" I thought that was really great. But yeah, there's not much to separate them from
Right,
one another.
right,
But again,
agreed.
they've been making movies together for probably their entire careers, and they're kind of like the same person.
Right.
But also, only two other things I wanted to say. First of all, the director John Landis, he said he wasn't happy with the movie because the studio took it and cut it up at the end quite severely. There is a whole subplot that was cut.
Oh, no.
Back at the studio, they had a rival movie star who was Fran Drescher.
What?
And when you see Steve Martin up on the wall there's a big billboard behind him. And I think it's like a sort of an illustration of Fran Drescher. Yeah, she was supposed to be the next big movie star. That's why they kind of got fired. That's why the guy didn't have a problem letting them go. Yeah, so that whole thing was cut. I read that there's a Blu-ray of this out where that scene or those scenes are actually on there.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then also another part that got cut, one of El Guapo's men was played by Sam Kinison.
What?
Yes.
That's
yes.
awesome.
And his whole role was cut out.
What?
Yes. I don't know.
So I guess I could see this being a safer movie than what it could have been. Much, much safer.
Right. Yes.
I mean, when you say Sam Kinison was cut, that's telling me you put the condom on. You didn't want there to be any. I don't know what that means.
Did you say you put the condom
Yeah,
on?
like you're playing it safe, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was a racy joke. It
Like
was a
you put
racy
the
joke.
kibosh on that, but instead you said condom.
Yeah. That was a racy joke, but I went with it.
I like that. Good
Yeah,
one.
thanks.
I love it. I liked it. I would recommend it, certainly. And I think we both would.
I think it's a
Yeah.
fun, definitely a fun
I got to
little-
tell you,
It's
I
n-
watched My Little Buttercup probably 10 times on
it's
YouTube.
so fun.
I just
Their dance
kept
is
playing
just
the song
thrilling.
over and over again.
They dance together, and it's adorable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even if you haven't seen this in a very long time and you don't want to watch it, please find that on
Just
YouTube.
find it
it's
on YouTube.
so
You'll
great.
be so happy. You'll be so
Just
happy.
watch it, and then that will make
If
you
you're
want to
having
watch
a
the whole
bad
movie.
day, you just put on that, and you're just like, yeah, Buttercup, just smile. That's all. Well, even though I really like this movie a lot too, it's not my favorite from like either three of them.
It's not my favorite from any of them, of course. Yes.
Right, but
would you like to
together
do some recommendations?
Well,
do you have some?
I was going to go with
Go ahead.
recommendations based off of each of them, like my favorite Chevy Chase movie, Martin Short, and Steve Martin movie. So
I was going to do the same thing, but
Great
you
minds
do
think
it,
alike.
and then I'll see. We'll see how many doubles
how
we have
comparison
here.
rate? Well,
Go ahead.
Chevy Chase is obviously I like Spies Like Us. Everybody, I like the vacation movies, of course.
Okay.
And
Of course.
Spies Like Us and Funny Farm. I love the movie Funny Farm that Chevy Chase was in. And I don't know why, it just makes me smile. It's about him moving to the country with an actress who I don't think I've ever seen again. But he's a writer, and it's fun. It's very fun.
I would love to see that again because I remember not liking it when I was younger.
I
Not
really
thinking
liked-
it was very funny.
I liked it as a kid a lot, and I watched it again recently when we moved here to Tennessee because we kind of moved into like a kind of country-ish little town, and it was fun. I still enjoyed it.
Did you have a front door that opened halfway? Remember the
No,
top
yes,
half opened?
Yes, like a ranch door, whatever you call it,
Yes.
kind of door. Yes.
Ranch door?
I
Is
don't
that what
know.
it's called?
I don't think that's what it's called at all. I don't even think they have it on ranches. But I think it is like not a barn door, but it's called something.
Right. No. It's yeah. I mean, you see them on barns sometimes. Like you could open the bottom door and then the little
Right.
animals could come out and
Right.
stuff like that,
Right.
and then the horses wouldn't escape.
I'm glad we cleared all that.
Welcome to our podcast, Doors. Tomorrow, or 2 weeks, we'll talk about French
Windows.
doors.
We'll be talking windows by the time we hit the holidays.
Whoa. Don't get ahead of yourself. There's a lot of doors we
There are.
haven't discussed
You
yet.
are correct. Martin Short, I love Inner Space. I don't think
I was going to say Inner Space,
If
too,
you're-
because
yeah.
I haven't...
I have
He's
seen it recently,
he
and
may
I
be
love
the
it.
least successful of the three. I guess maybe commercially successful.
Yeah.
I
And he
did
does
like
a lot
that.
of cartoons and stuff. I think he does a lot
Yeah.
of voiceover work for. Yeah,
I did like that that character that he played a few years ago. Remember when he'd get in the fat suit?
Oh, yeah.
And he would interview celebrities? That was really
that
good.
was
I totally forget what it was called, though.
I do, too. I can't blanking on it right now.
But that was really good.
Grimly, but The Jerk, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Dirt and Rotten Scoundrels are my 3 favorite Steve Martin movies.
Wow,
and then,
you are flying through these. Because I was going to say The Jerk. Go ahead.
Well, I also have a handful of Steve Martin movies that I have not seen, and I'm embarrassed that I haven't seen them, and I would want to, like L.A. Story and Leap of Faith. Mm-hmm. I've seen them, I feel like, in parts, but I didn't participate in my watching.
You didn't participate?
Does that make sense?
You weren't in those movies, is what you mean.
Yeah. So, therefore, they didn't, anyway, so, I flew through mine, but I wanted you to share yours.
I think we already talked about Martin Short.
We
For
covered.
Steve Martin, I'd agree with probably everything you said, but I'm going to go with a more serious movie. Have you ever seen the movie Shop Girl?
Oh, didn't he write that book?
Yeah, he wrote a book and then he was in the movie, and it's really good. It's just a little romantic. I wouldn't even call it a comedy. It's kind of funny, but it's a nice little romance and it's a good movie.
Okay.
And for Chevy Chase, what I would say is, and I'm going with TV here, Community.
Community, yeah. I did write down Community, too.
And Community is a crazy show because it's a great ensemble, and it's not worth watching once he's gone. It's really not. And I was very surprised. And people were up in arms because the show's creator, Dan Harmon, he left the show. They kind of kicked him off, and they were like, well, that's when it got dumb. And then he came back, and they're like, now it'll be good again. No. Mm-hmm. Apparently it had nothing to do with Dan Harmon. It had everything to do with Chevy
Chase with the big CC.
Anyway, they tried to replace him on the show twice. 2 different people, 2 different characters. It didn't work. He's so great.
He is so great.
And it's a shame. Why he had to leave, I don't know. But anyway, sorry, Chevy Chase.
Sorry, CC. I think
And again, I rattled off all of those John Landis movies. I can't wait to watch a bunch of them.
Yeah.
If people haven't seen some of those. If people haven't seen An American Werewolf in London, you should see that. It's so good.
Put it on your must-see list.
Horror movie. Yes. Yeah.
Before you see Three Amigos, you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Well, it depends what you're into.
Okay.
Do you want to watch a guy turn into a werewolf and kill people, or do you want to watch a turtle sing to Martin Short?
What mood are you in, basically?
That's right.
Yeah. Pick your pleasure.
In 2 weeks, you and I decided to do something different. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We always try and pick movies that are somewhat topical, but we figured for twice a year, we will choose the movie. And we can pick anything we want because it's our birthday.
It's a special day.
It is. And my birthday's coming up.
Yes.
So I get to choose the movie, and you don't even know what I'm going to pick.
I don't. I know you had some selections.
Oh, I had some selections. I kind of looked at this 2 different ways. I could choose something that's kind of dumb and good, bad, and we could make fun of, or I could choose something that would be really enjoyable to just sit down and watch. And I chose something enjoyable to sit down and watch.
Oh, lovely.
And I chose RoboCop.
Oh!
I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay.
I watched a little bit of it to sort of prepare, decide that it's what I wanted to watch,
okay.
and it's still amazing.
All right. I'm ready. I'm RoboCop ready is what I am.
Have you seen RoboCop?
Many years ago,
Okay.
probably as a child,
All right.
and not that I remember. Happy
Well,
Robo birthday, cop! What?
Thanks. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not a cop. I mean, I could try and have a Robo birthday, but I don't know what that entails.
Yeah.
I could ask Paulie. I could ask Leaf Phoenix.
Oh.
Okay, that's it, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. See you then.
Won't you stay a while? Come with me where moonbeams paint the sky, and you and I might linger in the sweet by and by. Oh, dear little Buttercup, with your eyes so blue. Oh, little Buttercup, you're a dream come true. You and I will settle down in a cottage built for two. Dear little Buttercup, I love you.
In a way, all of us have an El Guapo to face someday. For some, shyness might be their El Guapo. For others, a lack of education might be their El Guapo. For us, El Guapo is a big, dangerous guy who wants to kill us. But as sure as my name is Lucky Day, the people of Santa Poco can conquer their own personal El Guapo, who also happens to be the actual El Guapo.